All right, how's everybody doing? This is Cheech from the Cheech and Manny Music Podcast, and we have a great show today. So we sound like Ed Sullivan. We have a great show
Yeah, you
today,
should just say it
and
like that.
we have a
Do we
great
have a
show
great
for you
show for you
today.
today?
Well, you sound like somebody else.
I know. I'm
Anyway,
trying. Wait, Ed Sullivan's like, and how does I gotta work on my Ed Sullivan impersonation.
who is Ed? Ed is from Portchester, another Portchester
Oh, I didn't know
guy.
that.
From
Oh,
Portchester,
wonderful.
yeah. I went to school with my great grandfather. Insane, insane. Um, so here's my co-host Manny. We got sidetracked quick about Ed Sullivan. How's it going,
Dude,
Manny?
life is good, brother. How's life with you?
Great, man. Usual Thursday where we're doing a little early recording because of the
Mm-hmm.
weather. You happen to be home today. I had a great day with my daughter, so we trekked out in the ice and snow like the immigrant song. Played some bass. Just had a nice, relaxing day. So far it's early. It's only
Yeah.
3 o'clock, and we a bit later,
No,
so
I was
it's
gonna
good.
say I have the day off. Right, snow day. I think it's the first snow day of
Yeah,
the winter season.
and it's crazy. It wasn't bad out. I drove about six
No,
thirty,
no.
seven.
You know what it is? It was bad before, but then the rain. I think it's cold outside, right? So, but just the rain, cold
Yeah,
rain washed
back
everything away.
tomorrow.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
So we're here.
I, Let me just plug. This thing keeps uncharging. Charge, motherfucker. Well, it's fully charged. Okay. I just gotta say, fuck snow. If it snows after Christmas, fuck snow. Anyway, today we have a great show about the great album Test for
Mhm.
Echo by the greatest band in the galaxy, Rush. And I'd like to congratulate you, Manny, because we are on, I don't know, 16 episodes of Rush.
We're
Are we?
following the if we're following the because what record number is this?
I think it's 16.
So we covered 16 records. So we're pretty much like
Yeah,
we're
from
pretty much going
Rush.
throughout
No,
through the years with Rush.
we're almost done. We're almost done with
I was gonna say
Rush.
we got to take
It's
our
gonna be a sad.
time. It's gonna be bittersweet, and then
Yeah, and we're never gonna be done with Rush. We're never gonna be done with Rush. We're always gonna come up with ideas. So let me just do my shout out. You got any shout outs to any? Oh, you have a
yeah,
good
yeah.
shout out.
So, and hopefully, I'll send this episode over to Joe Madonna, who I know works for the Capitol in Portchester. For so any viewers out there, I guess I want to throw a plug in for Garcia's and the Capitol. Great, the Capitol being a legendary venue. Garcia's I have to go to. I know you play there.
Oh yeah, I played Garcia's
It's
two or three
it's a
times.
bar, right? Like, I haven't. You know what's funny? I've
Yeah,
never been there. I've seen
big.
it.
It's like a mini
I might
venue
go there maybe
bar.
like this maybe Friday night or something.
It, it's off the side of the
Yeah.
Capitol, and I was in a band many years ago. We did a couple shows there. We even did a tribute to Chris
Wow.
Cornell. We were a part of that. Great sound, great show. Great little club, but it's like a venue. It's funny. It's a club, but it's almost like a little tiny
Yeah, because
venue.
I never been, I have to go there, so I may go explore because I know it's a bar too. And so Joe Madonna reached out to me in Messenger, and he was confirming. I think it was you and your research
Yeah,
where you said a few things about the famous Capitol, right in Portchester. And I know we're going to have viewers
yeah.
from
Great,
outside New
great
York.
Capitol.
The Capitol is a legendary venue, and he confirmed that Bob
Yeah,
Dylan did use the Cap as rehearsal space. So, and that's just
yeah.
it's awesome because he knows his Cap history. I mean, he's like a
He
Cap
does.
historian. So, and a shout out to him, and hopefully, maybe one day he'll
Yeah,
be on the show or continue to confirm our Cap history because he is the expert.
it'd be great to have him on the show and go through all the
Yeah.
older bands that played the Capitol. And
And
also
by the way,
thanks to
he gave me. I think I still have it. He gave me bootleg Bruce Springsteen tapes, CDs. So it's amazing.
wow,
I just
wow.
memory just popped in there. This was years ago. This is when I graduated high school. I had a friend that was doing some what was it like street promotion. So I kind of like helped out a little bit at one point for the cap,
Yeah.
and he gave me these bootlegs, Bruce Springsteen bootleg CDs. So you know the famous bootlegs, like Rush probably has bootlegs. Fans
Oh
make
yeah,
bootlegs
I
of
have.
of everything. Um,
I used to buy bootlegs. There was two places. Um, I think we talked about it. The Vinyl Solution in
mhm,
Portchester, and then the flea market. There was
mhm.
a booth. There was a guy named George who had bootlegs. But Joe Madonna, thank you so much for bringing up the Bob Dylan that he did practice there. Thank you for, letting me know Rush opened for. I always thought it was Thin Lizzy, but thank you. It was Blue
Yep.
Oyster Cult. And if you can answer this question, did Janis
Yeah.
Joplin play the Capitol? And did she rent out Little Dick's, the bar next door? But we won't go
That'll
there
be
with Little
awesome.
Dick.
Yes, Joe. Let's see. Let's see. I'll share. Well, I'll share this episode with him, and hopefully he can answer our
Yeah,
question.
yeah, because that's the urban legend that Janis, played her show and then rented out the bar next door. Um, so before we get into Tesseract, I got my shout outs, and I have a great story about Tesseract that I want to mention. Always a shout out to my boys, Potter's Field. We did something interesting on Saturday, and I sent it to you. We went. I didn't even know you could do this. YouTube
Yeah.
Live,
Yeah.
and it was cool. We were playing in front of 100
It's
people.
amazing.
Like we had 100 viewers, like at a
Yeah.
rehearsal
That's the
studio.
good thing about YouTube Live, that if once you have an audience, our audience is like 42. So the thing with
Yeah,
YouTube, well, I'm not even gonna get into it, but yeah, dude, that's awesome how you use that, and I'm happy. Yeah, definitely for
yeah.
you guys, use YouTube Live because you can reach.
Yeah, like we play a bar, we're not going to play in front of 100 people. You
No,
know, if you go to Joey's or you go to these other places, you're lucky you put if there's 30 people there half the time, which is great. But 100 people, and they're all over the world, and I got a lot of comments and stuff. So shout out to Potter's Field, love you guys. So what do we got? So we got some great episodes that we just put out. Led Zeppelin 3 with the great Joe
Mr.
Silkman,
Joe
the
Silkman.
the man, the Led Zeppelin historian. And we put that out. So far, a lot of good feedback on that. And we put out Killers, which is great. And I lose track. We recorded Led Zeppelin 4 last week
Yes.
with
So
Joe.
that's gonna that so this week, maybe sooner rather than later, Zep 4 is gonna come out, and Counterparts Rush, that's
Okay,
coming out.
great, great. And then once we have Presto. Did we put Presto out?
I'm pretty sure. I didn't
No,
put Presto
I don't
out.
think we. I don't think we did.
Wait, did we record that on Riverside?
I don't know. Roll the Bones is not out either.
Wait.
I don't think
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to go back.
because we got
So
Presto,
tell you
Roll
what,
the
if
Bones.
anything, so Led Zeppelin 4 is gonna come out, and then Presto. I gotta find out where that is. Okay.
Yep. And then we got Roll the Bones, Counterparts, today's Test for Echo. Then we're going to take a little break from Rush because we're counting down to the last three. I got a confirmation from my brother-in-law, Rob Dominguez. He's going to be on the Snakes and Arrows episode,
Awesome.
because he's an expert on that album. And we're probably the only podcasters I know that have done every Rush album. So I'm really psyched about that. So before we get into Rush, let's just talk about the Grammys.
Yeah, I know a quick blurb on the Grammys.
I'm a little disappointed. I don't watch the Grammys. Actually, don't give a shit about
No,
the
I'll be honest
Grammys.
with you. I feel like that's already a joke that if you love music, people don't give a crap about the Grammys. Even
No,
movies too,
and
by the way. Like the Oscars are a joke.
yeah, it's all BS, And I wouldn't even bring the Grammys up on this episode if it wasn't for somebody who I love, worship as a guitar player. I put him up there. It's gonna sound sick, but I put him up there with Jimmy Page and Alex and all the greats. John Sykes, the legendary guitar player, who we go back with when we talked about Tigers of Pantang, a new wave of British heavy metal. You know him from Whitesnake, Still of the Night. I mean, probably the biggest album of the '80s. Next to Appetite for
Legend.
Destruction.
It's the legendary, legendary.
Yeah, he also played with a band called Blue Murder and Thin Lizzy. he was a young guy. He was like 20, and he was on the last Thin Lizzy album, Thunder and Light.
I remember him from the White Snake album. Dude, insane player.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Dave Coverdale, I guess being in a band with Richie Blackmore all these years, decided to fire everybody who recorded the album like a jackass. No disrespect, I worship Dave Coverdale, but bad move on firing John Sykes. And they got some great players. They had Adrian Vandenberg, who came in, who was in a band called Vandenberg. They got my boy Rudy Zarzo on bass, and they got Tommy Aldridge to replace either Ainsley Dunbar or Cozy Powell. I don't remember. I think it was Ainsley Dunbar who played on it on the recording. But anyway, the Grammys, and I posted something about this, and I got a lot of good feedback from people and a lot of different opinions. Not one mention about John Sykes at the Grammys. Now, I don't expect Beyonce or Kendrick Lamar or any of these newer artists who I have great respect for to come up and be like, oh yeah, John Sykes. They have no fucking clue who John Sykes is. They don't. So I'm not gonna knock them. But there was a heavy metal category, and I looked into it, and there were some really good bands on it. I mean, two legendary bands who lost. There was a band called Spirit Box, who I like. A band called Gutierrez, who won. Judas Priest and Metallica were also nominated. How they didn't win? If the Rolling Stones won for best
I know
rock
they
album,
did.
Metallica had a really strong album, and Judas Priest did too. So I would almost say 90% that if Metallica won, Kirk Hammett would have mentioned John Sykes, and I know KK Downing from Priest. Well, he's not in Priest anymore. What am I talking about? Halford or somebody would have mentioned John Sykes. They're from that era. Now Gutierrez, who is a good band, they're heavy. They're a heavy new metal band. I wouldn't expect them to say anything about John Sykes because sadly they probably don't even know who he is. Because they're not that style, and they're not knocking them. They're a good band. But I think it's a shame that whoever was the person who was introducing the heavy metal people, the heavy metal category, should have said rip to John Sykes. I think it's disgusting, and the Grammys should be ashamed of themselves. I feel like Eddie Trunk right now,
Oh yeah.
Fuck
Yeah.
the Grammys for not respecting John Sykes. Have no respect for them, And then this is another interesting thing that I find funny. Me and Daquan were talking about Kendrick Lamar, who I think is really super talented guy. I like To Pimp a Butterfly. His new album is good. We've talked about him and stuff. But I guess I don't live in this world anymore because I don't get it. He won 5 Grammys. Great for him. Michael Jackson won 8, or 10, but he won 5 Grammys on a diss track. Like Michael Jackson won 10 Grammys or 8 Grammys on Thriller, on Off the Wall, not on a diss track. I mean, how do you feel about that? No disrespect to Kendrick Lamar. I'm just not living in 2025's mentality.
So just based on Rick Beato. Rick Beato was a little like and obviously your opinion too, but so first, from since I'm closer to this generation, right? That song was really popular. Like it really it became a meme. It trended. The young
Yeah.
people, and of course I'm like 32, so I'm acting like I'm old or something. But it was a popular track. And then Kendrick
Yeah.
Lamar released an album that a few of our close Temple workers, praised. I know one of them said,
Yeah.
not every track was, perfect, but he was praising some of the
Right.
concepts. But I'll be honest with you. I mean, I don't know because I have a. Should he have swept the Grammys?
I mean, from a diss track, I I don't I mean I'm not of this world. I don't know. I don't understand how it works to sing about somebody, making fun of them, putting them down. Biggie.
Hmm. Oh, Cheech, you have an incoming call, so it stopped recording. Cheech, you have an incoming call? Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you hear me?
So repeat everything
Yeah,
you
the
just
phone
said because
call.
it got cut off.
Okay, where was I?
Um, so just continue with
Oh,
the Grammy.
okay. So I guess in the history of rap music
Yeah. Oh,
in the
yeah,
90s,
yeah,
Biggie did a diss track. No, Tupac did a diss track to Biggie. That's the famous one where he was talking about Faith Evans, his wife, how he hooked up with
yeah.
her and all this shit. I don't know if Biggie retaliated. I don't remember with a diss track. Maybe he did. I don't remember. But
But dude, if I
so
can comment on that because that's such a great point. Like, I'll be honest with you. First of all, diss tracks are already petty enough. So Tupac, if I could talk to him, I would say you're very petty for doing that. First of all, because I'll be
yeah,
honest with you, that to do it on a public stage like that's bad enough. So I don't think that's something
yeah,
that we should. Just music, in my opinion, we shouldn't glorify. And then it's funny because if you look at Tupac's greatest work, as a, because he was in the hip hop rap genre, he had songs like,
yeah,
for example, "Dear Mama," which is
yeah.
it's amazing.
Great.
It's an ode to his mother and mothers in general.
Yeah,
But then he quickly will lose credibility with like a diss track that he did. You know. So again, I don't know
yeah.
the Grammys. I don't know.
And the original diss track we talked about was Sweet Home Alabama. But
In
there's a
the rock
point to
world,
that.
yeah.
Neil Young is messing with Southern Pride, and you don't fuck with Ronnie Van Zant, and it is a diss track, but it was done. It was done for a point. There was a purpose. There was kind of a purpose there, I love Neil Young and I worship Skinner, so but it wasn't done. And Sweet Home Alabama is not known as, oh yeah, it's a diss track. That's why I
No,
like Sweet Home Alabama.
it
It's just
became a popular track, but
one of the greatest rock radio songs next to
dude,
Stairway to
yeah, no,
Heaven
no,
and
no.
Baby
It's
Bird.
among it.
No,
It even surpassed classic rock. It's now a
yeah,
popular song people put on to have a good time. And but you forget it's a
cultural.
diss. But
It's
you
cultural.
forget it's dissing Neil
It,
Young on his song "Southern Man" because this is a
exactly.
Canadian taking a jab because Neil Young in America have a funny story. Like Neil Young has like he's amazing. Like I love Neil Young, but sometimes he
Yeah,
has a big mouth, so he'll start to speak kind of on matters.
he's like the of rock.
Yeah, he's like outspoken. But I don't agree with a lot of things that
Yeah,
Neil Young says. But yeah, Van Zant was like, "Whoa, what's this Canadian talking trash about?" You know,
but I remember like seeing Government Mule, who was definitely a Southern rock band, and they opened up with Southern Man. So maybe it doesn't bot it doesn't bother
no, no.
people.
And did you see
Or
this? I don't know if it was Neil
Southern.
Young or
Yeah,
Van Zant. One of them on interview said, we don't." I think it was Van Zant or one of the members of Leonard Skinner, where they said, "We don't hate Neil Young. We actually, we love him. It's just our reaction to,
really.
it's great. See, that's how it's done. You know."
Yeah, yeah. So, but anyway, yeah. So that was my take on the Grammys. Shame on the Grammys for not recognizing John Sykes. And a lot of people wrote on my comments on Facebook, these kids or people don't care. But it's not so much about the kids, it's about these assholes that run the Grammys. They're probably millennials in their 30s and 40s. It's not like the Clive Davises are around anymore or anybody reputable, Tommy Mottola's and shit. It's young people that honestly don't have a fucking clue, and it's all about Spotify, and people need to do their history, and John Sykes should have been mentioned, just my opinion. And people might laugh at me and be like, oh, you rock and roll dinosaur, who cares about White Snake? It had its time. Fuck you. That's what I said. Fuck you
That's the
very
rock
much.
and
That's
roll
what I said.
attitude. We
All
need to
right.
have a rock
So
and roll
John Sykes,
revival.
all that matters is John Sykes' legacy will live on forever, So anyway, any last remarks on the
What
shitty
do you think of the
Grammys?
Rolling Stones winning album of the rock album of the year?
I like the song. I heard it. It's interesting. And Rick Beato
He
kind of
ripped it apart.
was making fun of it. Well, it's not. It's
It's
electronic.
weird. It's strange. And did you hear Mick
Yeah,
Jagger? I mean, dude, first of all,
Mick
dude,
sounds
but
good.
the fact that
I
they're
thought,
playing in their 80s.
that alone they
I, I,
deserve a
I
win.
want to
You know what
comment
I
Rick
mean?
Beato's video. I was like, dude, but I'll be honest with you. To rock at your 80s? Come on.
Yeah, if you're 80 years old and you were around in the 60s and you're putting out albums, you should win a fucking Grammy. Although the Black Crowes album was better, I thought that was a good album. Not familiar with Pearl
Oh,
Jam's
Jack
new
White's
album,
album
and
apparently got praised.
I could wipe my ass with Jack White. To be honest, I don't like anything the guy does. And he's still out there. I don't get it. I don't. No offense, Jack White, just don't like your music. But uh, I really think the Crows had a better
Mm.
album, and the Stones, yeah, they won because they're the
Mhm.
Stones, and they're still doing it at 80. God knows, most 80-year-olds are in
Yeah,
wheelchairs, and
it's incredible.
so yeah, props to the Stones,
Listen
man.
to the Rolling Stones, especially their late 60s records. They're amazing.
And I thought, I might go against Beato on this. Like, it's cool that they're doing trendy shit. That they're using electronic things. They're trying to be hip, and people aren't looking down at them.
As far as I know.
Apparently, you know. I agree with Beato. It's not Sticky Fingers. It's not the classic
No,
shit.
no.
But those days are over. But props to the Stones, and Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Props to him. I that's a feat, 5 Grammys, but in this world, Grammys don't mean anything, so it doesn't really matter. Michael Jackson won Grammys for quality albums, Thriller and Off the Wall, and McCartney won like 5 Grammys in a night and stuff like that. So these are people who there was a purpose, not dissing other people, but hey, like I said, I'm a caveman, and I can't get 2025. I'm not getting it. I ain't getting it. That's why Daquan is always looking at me, shaking his head, calling me an old man. That's what I am. Rock and roll dinosaur, But before we jump into Test for Echo, I have a quick story about this. I was thinking about it. They didn't have an opening act when I saw them in 19. I think what year was this album? 96, I believe. Yeah. So I'm standing online to get into the concert with my cousin Henry
What year was
and
this?
Rob. 1996. Okay. I got the album. I loved it. I remember going on a trip, and I had the Walkman on. Walkman, not the AirPods,
Oh, dude, do you
with a
remember the
tape.
floppy disks? I
Oh
told
yeah,
some
yeah.
I guess the students, do you guys know what a floppy disk is? And the fact that I know that, and I had one of the teachers laughing, like, okay, because we were doing Spanish,
Yeah.
because apparently the text was outdated, so just this Walkman, floppy disk, like
Yeah.
another era.
Oh, another time, Um, and I'm online waiting to get in the concert, and I'm with my cousin Henry and Rob, and we're waiting, and all of a sudden my mouth drops. And I said the story before, I think, on the show, but for this album, it was for Test for Echo. In front of me is Fate's Warning, my second favorite prog band in the world. And I had just seen them perform, and I said, I got to go up to them. And I went up to Ray, the singer, and I was like, I can't. I just went right up to him. I interrupted the conversation. I said, I'm sorry, guys, but I can't believe this. I'm online to see my favorite prog band, and I'm behind my second fucking favorite prog band in the world. And they're all laughing, they're high-fiving me, and they were such nice guys. And it was so cool. If Fate's Warning was going to see Rush, they were just recording an album called A Pleasant Shade of Grey. They had just gotten a new bass player, and they were telling me about that, and they were just really nice. But what are the odds of that? You're going to see your favorite prog band, and your second favorite prog band is in front of you online. And I never forget Henry's face, my cousin. He was like, "Are you okay? What's wrong with you?" Because I had like a fucking attack. I was like, fucking Fates Warning, holy shit, you know. I didn't want to be a fanboy, but I am a fanboy when it comes to
Yeah.
shit like that. I can't help it, you know. But anyway, so we'll jump right into Test for Echo. We have Test for Echo,
Wait,
Driven, Half
wait, do
the
you mind
World.
if just because you have these stories that are awesome and you've no rush when they were at their peak, and
Yeah,
so just to get us started with this episode, this Test for Echo is considered by many as a weak point in the Rush discography. It's considered like when there's
it is.
rankings, it's usually
It,
ranked very lowly.
unfortunately, it is by the fans, but not by the critics too much. The critics didn't butcher it. I think it's more of a fan thing. You know, it actually did well. When I get to the charts, I'll tell you how it did. It did pretty good, but it's more of a fan ranking because they mock a lot of the songs like Dog Years and stuff like
You
that.
know what's funny? And I
But
thought we'll jump into it, but I thought Dog Years was kind of a good song.
I think
No,
every song
and
is
you'll
good.
talk about it, dude. You know how we talk about the internet and like online dating and social media, bro. Virtuality.
Oh, Virtuality was ahead
No,
of its
it's actually,
time.
and that's one of the best songs. Like, you know what's funny? I texted you. I
Yeah,
said, I'm struggling with this album. Like, just first listen, and again, in back of my
yeah,
mind, I'm comparing it to Moving Pictures or Grace Under
yeah,
Pressure.
yeah.
But
You
then I
can't.
realized, hold on.
Yeah,
Let me go back and listen to it again. Let me give it a chance. Let me just
yeah,
listen to it. And
yeah.
I'll be honest with you, it's a great '90s record.
If you're gonna compare it, you know, the new stuff, you got to go back to like Big Money, Grace Under Pressure. No, you got to go back up to Power
Yeah.
Windows, Presto, Roll the Bones, Counterparts, and I think, you know, comparing it, you know, Presto to me is the better of all those
Hmm.
albums. You know, Hold Your Fire was great, but I think Presto was that, and Power Windows, I think, are my
Yeah.
two favorites. Well, you know, and Counterparts, I don't know, I can't pick, but they're all strong albums. Um, but yeah, the fans kind of don't like it. You know, the lyrics get a little bit. Neil's not as heavy in
No.
philosophy. We're gonna get into it. There'll be some stoic stuff in there. It's in there, but it's kind of rehashed
Mm.
again. You know, which is fine because how many times could you talk about Ayn Rand and reinvent yourself when you're on your 16th album? It's really
And
fucking hard.
just to
You
make
know.
music, I have a newfound appreciation for people that make music and the talent, creativity, and effort it requires. It's an achievement that Rush is. This is their 16th album. So
Yeah, and there's an instrumental on here too, so they're going back to
yeah.
instrumentals and stuff. You know? So you know, and Caveman surely left a nice imprint on them where they're started to use old equipment again. You know, Getty's back to the jazz basses. Alex is getting his his heavy sound and his clean sound. So, but going back to the tracks, Test for Echo, Driven, Half the World, Color of Right, Time in Motion, Totem, Dog Years, which is funny. Virtuality, like you said. Oh man, I have a story about that one. Resist, Limbo, Carve Away at the Stone. So 11 tracks. Great. I think just a great album, and we'll dive into the history. The history is a little interesting on this, you know, which I found. So is my face here, or are you just
Yeah,
seeing
you're
my
good.
head? Okay. Test for Echo, 1996. It's a mix of hard rock and prog elements on Anthem Records. Now, once again, I forgot who produced Counterparts, but they did bring in Peter
Hmm.
Collins. I think he might have produced
I think he did
Counterparts.
because I'm reading here. It's the
I know they
last one to be co-produced by Collins.
because Rupert Hines and Peter Collins, they were
Right.
swapping for
Yeah.
some reason on different on the 80s and 90s. Um, I don't have the engineer, but I know it's not Caveman. It's not Caveman. It was recorded in a studio called Bearsville Studio in New York, up in the Catskills, which was a big studio at the
Hmm.
time. Um, Test for Echo. It went to #1, believe it or not, on some parts of the world. I'm not sure in the States, but it went to #1, so it did well. This is interesting. They took 18 months off, which is a long time for Rush to take, time off, because Geddy Lee had a daughter. So during that time, Alex recorded a solo album called Victor. And I just want to bring this up. Anybody who doesn't know about this, go out and stream it. It is a killer album. Alex's solo album, Victor. It's just him on the cover. He's got like a weird face. It's Alex's face. I remember buying it and my mouth dropped. It was like, it's not like a Rush album. I mean, you hear Alex and you expect to hear Geddy's voice, but he does all this cool guitar work. Comparing it to Geddy's My Favorite Headache, it's I don't know which one I like better. I'm kind of torn. They're both. It's amazing how these guys could do solo albums, right? Like in not like get cocky and say, "Oh, I'm just going to be Alex Lifeson." They knew that they couldn't do it. If Alex did another solo album, it would have been probably okay. So he was bored for 18 months while Geddy was being a dad, probably I think for the second time. So he had to do something. And then Neil did Burning for Buddy Rich. He did a bunch of tribute shows for Buddy Rich. And this is what's going to, blow everyone's mind. He took lessons from Freddie Gruber, who played with Charlie Parker. And a lot of guys did. Peter Erskine from Weather Report, Steve Smith from Journey. They all studied with this old Yoda jazz guy who made them all play like traditional. So I saw Neil play traditional. Instead of playing like that, he was playing with his wrist, that jazz style. And I was like, how is he playing Tom Sawyer without like breaking his fucking wrist, But it was amazing. So if anybody thinks you're good at something, you're not. Because Neil Peart took fucking lessons. Unless you're, if you're good and you stop studying and I'm the greatest or whatever, no, keep growing, keep studying. That's what Neil did. And the greatest drummer of the world is taking lessons. So, need I say more on that, So here we go with the charts. Charted at #3 in Canada, 5 in the US. I guess it was a disappointment in a way. It didn't go platinum. It went gold in the US and Canada. But it charted #1 somewhere. And I wish I knew what country that was.
I got here the title track, Test for Echo, is #1 the mainstream rock chart.
That's what it is.
Which I have to assume is USA. That's actually pretty something that it's not spoken about.
I don't think Tom Sawyer charted #1.
Not that I know of.
And Test for Echo is a good song, but it's not, a Tom Sawyer. But that's pretty cool. But it only went gold, which is interesting. It's probably platinum at this point. So any comments on that or anything before we move into the actual?
No, it's solid little historical background. And and it's funny because I found out that Alex released a solo album, which I have yet to listen to, so I'm definitely going to listen to it.
Oh,
surprised they didn't do more.
Oh, he did. Alex did an album, and I remember Joe.
He did. Okay,
a lot. He did a solo album about 2 years ago. I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know. It wasn't. It was like some weird thing. So I don't know. It wasn't Victor. That's damn sure. It wasn't a solo album. He joined a band, I think, and he did some weird. I think a bunch of younger people, and it was all right. So, Test for Echo. We'll break it down. Lyrically, the chamber of public opinion, where people repeat what others say without thinking. Some critique the mindless people. conformity and in the encouragement of individual thoughts. So he's encouraging you to have your own
Mhm.
mindset, to question and think for yourself, to spread information without understanding, conformity, free will, search for the truth. I like that, to spread information without understanding. That's an interesting thing, basically you're spreading information, or you're saying stuff that you don't really know what the fuck you're talking about.
That's what's
You
happening
know,
today.
Polit- politicians. We won't go there, but um, and so any comments on that?
Lyrically, no, I think you got it. I think it's interesting for sure. Um,
Yeah.
musically, it's interesting as well. Like
Oh
it's
yeah, yeah. We'll,
heavy.
we'll get it. It's real heavy. I remember when I saw it live, I was just like, wow, they're kicking ass. That was a great, great, great show. Test for Echo,
And it has
unbelievable.
an interesting thing when he sings Getty. And Getty's vocals are actually pretty good on this record. I was
Oh
watching
yeah,
someone that didn't like the vocals on a lot of these tracks, which I could kind of see, but as the album by itself, it's pretty good. It's funny when he says, for example, you know how he says, "Here we go" in slow mo, then video
yeah,
vertigo, test for echo, and then the music kind of does this weird thing. It kind of feels like a ride or something.
yeah. I mean, I think um, it every song in this album could be a
Hmm.
radio song. I mean, it's real commercial. I fell in love with it from when, you know, I just was in love with this album, and it reminds me. I got to bring this up too. It reminds me of my best friend Danny Brown. We would constantly listen to this, and you know, get all fucked up and have fun, and just it was like, it was a song. It was an album we listened to for a good
Right.
solid year. We didn't take it out of our tape decks
Well,
or
I
CD
mean, I mean,
players.
I can see that. And wait, and so lyrically, so test for echo is is like the spread of information.
Yeah,
Interesting.
basically. But the information, is it false? Is it true? You know, uh, the public opinion, where people repeat what others
Oh, so,
say.
so
It's
that's the
basically
idea, like an
what's going.
echo, test for echo.
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, that's the metaphor, and it's going on
Well,
right now. I mean,
all
I don't
over the
want to get
place,
into
and I think the internet
I don't want to
didn't,
get into
and the internet doesn't
politics.
help things.
Yeah, so
Oh,
like,
so it's like
it's
information in
definitely
like an echo chamber, and then it
exactly,
causes that
you
makes
know,
sense. A video vertigo, dude, internet vertigo. Not,
yeah, saying things without thinking, mindless conformity, encouraging individual thoughts. So the positive is to encourage your individual thoughts and say what you want, but make sure
that's
you
a
have
classic
meaning
Rush
behind it.
idea, individualism, but
Oh yeah,
make sure that your individualism is in check, and you're not, and I guess it makes sense
exactly.
because they would be talking in some sort of like echo chamber, and just you know
Yeah,
just in this toxic cycle or something.
I know. Conformity, free will, and search for the truth. So just some of the I'll talk about the music first. Heavy riffs. Once again, Al's getting back to the
Wait, dude, comment
atmospheric.
on Alex, and throughout the album, but especially in this song, like Alex's guitar tone, it's pretty
Amazing.
good.
It changes. It changes. It's almost a throwback to Hold Your Fire, I think, in my opinion. But it's heavy. It's not Counterparts
No,
heavy. He kind of got away from the detuning. They experimented with it, and they probably felt like, yeah, we did this because Rush is trending right now. Grunge is trending right now. Grunge is ending. It's
96,
96.
yeah.
Grunge is, it had its time from 91. I think grunge, you could technically say 90, like going into the Bleach. Always got to bring up Nirvana, our favorite band of all time. Bleach era into that was 90 into 93, 94, Pearl Jam,
No, but
STP,
grunge, it's pretty much on its way
okay.
kind of out. And you know what's funny with Test for Echo? I think it's one of their most rushiest songs.
Oh yeah, it gets back to
It's good.
proggy. It
It
gets
has
back
these,
to
yeah, I don't know if it has
yeah.
time signatures, but it does have this.
Oh,
Oh, okay,
it
because I
does.
can
It
hear
does.
it. I'm surprised it was number
Yeah.
one.
I mean, this one, heavy riffs, atmospheric. Alex is getting back to that atmospheric vibe. Great vocals, driving rhythm, prog metal, intricate musical parts. It's all there. So it's classic. Um, People he was reading: Ayn Rand, of course, Nietzsche, Sartre, Aristotle, Plato. I don't have any books, but I do have an Aristotle book. Stoic philosophy. Aristotle, am I saying this wrong? Oh God.
So the Nick and
Nicomachean.
McKean ethics.
Yes, in
Cool,
politics. Virtue, morality, and
cool.
individualism. So that's where he's at with that. I know Aristotle's our favorite. Any comments on that with that? Just a blurb about what that
Great
means.
reads.
Any specific meaning to that weird word that I can't pronounce? Is it about just
Have you
ethics?
heard of
And
it?
I never read that particular book. I mean, I've read a lot of Aristotle, studied a lot of Aristotle, but I never got into that. You want to
Yeah,
explain
yeah.
a
Well,
little?
you said that Kurt was reading while I'm assuming creating this album.
Yeah, no, this song.
It's
This
pretty
is on this
cool.
song.
I mean, that would actually make sense
Yeah.
because if by the way, I love the book, and the only reason why I'm aware of it, I actually bought it too. But the only reason why I'm aware of it is because of Saint Thomas Aquinas, and he
Oh,
used
okay.
his Nicomachean ethics, and it's pretty much the science for of the good for human life. He delves
Okay.
into without going too much detail, but he goes into detail.
Yeah.
What is the good life? And so, test for
Okay.
echo that would
Cool.
make sense because
Yeah. Yeah. We
part of the
don't want.
good
Yeah.
life is, for example, having good habits, being virtuous. So if you're spreading false
Yeah.
information, you're not being virtuous.
Right. Immorality and individualism is in there as well. So definitely. So the greats are there, and of course the Stoic. Do you see any Stoic stuff in there?
He was reading Stoics.
Yeah. Oh wait, I got more. I'm sorry. Plato, the Republic. Um. Seneca, Marcus Aurelius.
Aurelius.
Say that. Self-control, reason, and inner
Hmm.
strength.
Ah,
So that's all
good
in.
reads.
I guess self-control and inner strength. Really could hold back what you want to say. Because you're going to get yourself in trouble or fired from the temple.
Mm-hmm.
So, you want to move on, or
Now
any other
let's move
comments
on. Let's
on
go
that?
through these songs.
Driven, great
It was a good
song,
song. I
great
have a
chorus.
newfound appreciation for this song.
Perseverance, stay focused on your goals, overcoming obstacles, keep moving forward. Music, great vocals, great bass, great drums. Here you go with your time signatures, complex time, heavy guitar, and really catchy
Yeah,
hooks.
when he said,
Yeah.
"It's my turn to drive," like, and he goes back. Yeah,
Yeah.
it goes musically. It goes through a lot of. It's interesting. It's like heavy, but then it takes back. It takes a little pop turn, acoustic.
Yeah. There's complex music, and then there's catchy radio shit. It could be like half the world could be on the
Yeah,
radio. It should have been on the radio, I think. Sorry, this thing keeps on. Buy a new charger and it doesn't fucking work. Now it works. Okay. Uh, back to the lyrics. It's gonna be pretty much the same. Um, back to the reading. Book, Stoic philosophy, reason, self-control, inner strength. I always say this guy's wrong. You're gonna Epictets.
Epictetus.
Epictetus. Yep. Perseverance, resilience, um, you know, that kind of thing. Ayn Rand, objectivism, Joseph Campbell, A Hero's Journey. So, any comments on that, or just
No, because
on
I
the?
don't see it in this song. I mean, this song's pretty straightforward.
I mean,
It's
that's what I
interesting.
got as far as what he was reading when he wrote it. I mean, I guess like to have perseverance and resilience, wouldn't that be stoic in a way?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm seeing that. Reason, self control, inner strength would come in the stoic realm, I
Yeah,
think,
especially
as
self
well.
control.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the
So
song is about um like not giving up though, right?
no, it's about moving forward, not stopping, not like being told no, 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 but saying yes, 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 yes. I'm moving forward.
Mm.
To be driven about whatever in life, music, your job, you know.
No, so I mean that would explain it's my turn to drive.
Yeah,
Very Neil Peart song. Like I could see him like him and
yeah,
the motorcycle because that's
I,
more. I feel like that's him. That's Neil on his motorcycle.
yeah. Or my turn to
Yeah,
shine.
yeah, yeah.
You
And
know,
then driven to the margin of error, driven to the edge of control. That's a great line. Driven to the margin of
yeah,
terror, driven to the edge of a deep dark hole. It gets kind of dark. So I don't know. You think is
yeah.
this? Do you think there's like a boundary there or something or?
Um, I don't know. At this point, they have nothing to worry about. Rush is set, man. They could be doing albums and they could bomb, and they're still gonna have record deals, and at this point, they weren't charting like they were in the '80s, but they still got 20,000 people at Madison Square Garden
Right.
there to see
Well, I
them.
was gonna say and that's also the stoic part because you know, like the Stoics would talk about, for example, how do you react, with the outside world? If
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
driven to the margin of error, which
yeah,
you're at this point, how do you deal with error on the outside, and then the edge of control? That's a good line. Like in
right,
life, what happens if you lose control over life? So like, there's a stoic attitude to that. That's the most stoic right there.
yeah,
And then driven to the edge of a deep dark hole, right? So
right,
it's like, first of all, this person, it's interesting line too when he says it's my turn to drive, but then he says it's kind of like, is there an urgency to this song? I'm just noticing, and then he adds, but it's my turn to drive. Like it kind of seems,
yeah.
this person's trying to take control back of something. I don't know if this is like autobiographical. I don't know, but
I,
there's a
you
stoic
know,
spirituality in the song.
yeah, yeah. That's what I thought, and I thought you'd be able to define that one. Um, all right. So moving on to the
Did
next
you talk
one.
musically driven?
Yeah. Oh, did I have anything from it? Oh yeah. Musically, musically, great vocals, great bass. The drums are very complex, and I mean, just heavy guitars, that
Yeah,
that kind
very,
of
very
thing.
similar to
Not
Test
much.
for Echo. I
Yeah,
feel like that's the sound of the album.
yeah, yeah. I think so. I think so too. All right. So half the world. My favorite song on the album, Half the World. I played this forever. I would just crank it up on my Walkman over and over, or whatever you called it with the CD. The CD Walkman. Uh, and let me see. So when this came out, you were 3 years
Yeah,
old, or yeah. So half the world, duality of life, balance of light and dark, knowledge versus ignorance, seeking harmony, the human experience. Um, so any comments on that? I mean, this is just typical. This almost goes back to which album was about young
and you
counterparts?
said Counterparts was the Carl Jung album. Yeah, it's like a
Yeah, so this
return
is
to that
definitely
duality.
yeah, so there's definitely a young
Well, you
influence
know,
in
I thought
here.
this song was a little also kind of political. I thought they were talking about like the poor or the
Um, I didn't see that in there, but if you're seeing something, you want to
half
point it
the
out,
world.
if you want to
Because
add
I
that.
thought like half the world hates, half the world does what half the world does every day. I feel like I kind of saw something with the working class or something.
I mean, it could be the rich and the
Yeah.
poor, and maybe Rush is the Robin Hoods,
Right.
bringing everybody together at a concert. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I don't know. Just my crazy analogy. You know.
Yeah, it's good. Good. I
Um,
think it's straightforward. Duality.
I mean, you seen the dual. Well, the
Yeah.
duality is there. You know, duality, balance. There's light and dark. Knowledge versus ignorance, and seeking harmony. Musically heavy. There's a nice soft
Yeah.
section. Great drums. Again, you mentioned it earlier. Odd meter is there. Great bass as always, and guitar. And it's just a great. I mean, it should have been a radio. It should have been in the top 10 as a
Yeah, a
radio
lot of
song.
these songs could have been top 10.
You know. Um. Uh, right. So you have interesting. Who I came up with. I could be wrong, but Nietzsche's in there. Duality and balance. Young is in there, but I definitely see some Young, but we won't go crazy. Joseph Campbell, Hero's Journey. I mean, A Hero, A Thousand
Mm.
Faces, Power of Myth. Now, do you see Immanuel Kant in there?
No.
You don't
No.
see
That
that
Manuel
at
Kant?
all? Yeah, you don't see any of that in there because that's what Neil was reading on this song.
No. This is like I say sort of like this is gonna be weird, but more communism, if anything.
Well, Heidegger, do you see Heidegger in there?
No. Being? I mean, maybe. Let me see.
Existence, reality, human nature.
Because Heidegger is about being, ontology. I mean, well, actually, yeah, half the world is, half the world was.
Yeah, definitely some Heidegger in there.
Like, is. I don't know, guys. It sounds interesting. I can see the influence, but I think duality is more duality, and then I see a bit of like rich poor communism ideas there. It's weird.
Right, right. So more Jungian
Yeah,
than
if
than
anything, a
than
little bit.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. So moving on to the next one, which is another catchy
yeah. All these songs
fucking
are pretty
song.
catchy.
Yeah, I hear him in my head, like when I'm just like gonna say it. Color of Right. Oh my god, what a great song, man! What just amazing, amazing fucking song. Uh, Moral courage, standing up for what is right, integrity, moral responsibility, justice, doing the right thing. You know, uh, and that says a lot. I think doing the right thing. What is the right thing? How do you know you're doing the right thing?
Hmm.
That kind of thing. A lot of like thought provoking
Yeah,
lyrics.
the color of right.
Yeah, right. So how do you feel about that as far as a
Yeah, I think no, I
breakdown?
think you got it. I think some really cool lines is um, gravity and distance change the passage of light, and then a quality of
Yeah,
justice, a quantity of light, a particle of mercy makes the color of right. That's kind of
yeah.
interesting.
Poetry. Let's see if I got my philosophy right now. Nietzsche, Eric Fromm,
Hmm.
The Autonomy of the Human, whatever book that was. Hervey Cleckley's Mask of Sanity.
I
You ever
heard
hear
of
of him?
him. I haven't read him, but I heard of him.
Yeah. So that's what Neil was reading on that. You know. I mean, I have "Thus Spoke Zarathustra" for Nietzsche. I don't know if that's a good call on this
No,
song.
definitely don't see that.
You don't see that.
No, I mean, this is another straightforward song, just written from like a Rush perspective. They have this habit
Yeah.
of like, and again, I think it's Neil, but he writes. Yeah, he writes like a philosopher, kind of. So,
Every song
because you're
is
right. Because he
philosophical.
said the color of right is um, doing the right thing. So again, morality. But he does in this way where he kind of describes it. Like nobody really thinks
Yeah.
as like the color, like being right as like a quality of justice, a quantity of light. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
uh, um, he says here, make it easy on yourself. There's nothing more you can do. You're so full of what is right, you can't see what is true. Right? That's interesting. But and he's talking and he's comparing like he's saying morality is the same thing as gravity. You seen the movie Interstellar? That
Yeah.
he's
Yeah. A
kind of
long time
talking
ago.
about that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fascinating.
Yeah. Those Phyllis,
Um.
the other influence I don't see. I mean, it sounds pretty straightforward, just morality.
Well, I got more. Oh. Oh no. I'm sorry. It's for the next one. It's for the next one. But yeah. So you don't see Nietzsche in there too
No,
much.
because Nietzsche, he's beyond good and evil.
Right. Right. Okay. But Eric Fromm, I think, is
I
definitely in
see
there
that. Do you know anything about Eric Fromm?
a little bit. Studied some of his
Yes,
stuff.
he's pretty cool. Humanistic. He's a psychoanalyst.
Hmm.
Um, I will say in this song though, I mean, I guess I could see it. I guess I could see that maybe.
Yeah, because it's coming from almost a psychological
Yeah,
point
yeah,
of view
yeah,
in a way. The color of right, to be right, you don't want
yeah.
to be wrong. You want to choose the right path.
Yeah.
So okay, so the next one is time in motion. Life is about a journey, acknowledging every single fleeting moments that add up into an entire lifetime. I really like that. We take for granted our life. They're all about little moments. Like right now is a moment. We're doing a
Mm.
show, and we're lucky enough to film it, and it'll be there as long as the internet's there. 100 years, 200 years from now, probably we'll be famous like Bach after we're dead and gone. You know what I mean? We'll be like, oh, those two guys, Cheech and Manny, man, they really had their shit about Rush. So I think, you know, like it's about moments, and those little moments make an entire lifetime, but you got to cherish every moment.
Mm.
The sunrise, the sun sets, your kids smiling, somebody you love that you see, which people don't, I don't think anymore. I don't think people give a shit too much. I,
It's rare.
I mean, people are just got their earbuds in and they're just like stuck in their own whatever the fuck they're doing. I don't think people are,
That's something that
like,
I remind myself how. And it's funny because this is kind of like a spiritual sequel to Time Stands Still. I feel though. I
yeah,
feel as
yeah,
because um I don't know, yeah, Neil has this way of describing things. Like some people don't like. I can see how people will like. Some people will be like, wouldn't like it, but it is interesting. Like he says here, time in motion, flesh and blood and fire, lives connect in webs of gold and razor wire. Like, what do you think about that line?
say it again.
Lives connect in webs of gold and razor wire.
Webs of gold and webs and
Razor
it's almost,
wire.
almost like a pocket full of gold. I live for my dreams in a pocket full of gold. I'm trying to like so the gold is money, right? And it's razor wire, the pain that you
Yeah,
get to get the
yeah.
money.
And I
Yeah,
like the days connect
I
like
guess.
box cars in a train. That's a pretty interesting line too.
Yeah, that's a nice metaphor. Yeah, it's getting poetic, but you gotta dig for it. Um, but yeah, I think I really love that idea of
Oh,
moments. Taking
yeah,
moment.
no, and talk about moments. Very actually pretty song. eyes connect like interstellar beams. I always say, like, you're right. Most people, and I'm always reminding how beautiful life is. Like, you gotta be present.
Yeah,
Like, this is something I'm trying to discover. Like, like what we're doing right now, dude. Dude, our eyes are
yeah.
connecting like interstellar beams. The internet, man. Like, people don't wait. People are
Oh
only in
yeah.
their iPads or glued on the.
Oh, the generation today, and I know I sound like my grandfather, or I sound like a old. It's not Jesus. Um, like, but yeah, you look at the world, man, and people are just like this, on their fucking cell phones, not even holding a door for
No,
anybody,
do I see it in
not.
I see it in the generation. I'll go into much detail, but it's kind of sad.
No,
It's kind of
it's
sad. You would have to
yeah,
reteach this.
and it can't be retaught because we grew up in a generation where we grew up with
Mm.
respect, we grew up with none of this technology. Like you grew up with some technology, but you were born right when the technology was
Yeah, I was
developing,
like on the
you know
cusp.
so you're almost pre-technology, but by the time you were 10 it was blown
Yeah,
up already. You probably had a cell phone 12, so you kind of did get it. You got CDs, and you probably got maybe albums and tapes and stuff like that. But kids today are just, or people, not even kids. You could say these people at the temple that you're waiting on. Can I help you? Can I help you? Oh, 1 minute. Well, fuck you, and tell the person
dude, I'm
to just
surprised people
respond and
do that.
what are you, fucking Rosemary Ham? For Christ's sake. You know, like I hate this. 1 minute, 1 minute. Then that's when I go to the bathroom. Fuck
I
off.
know,
I'm here to
dude.
serve
I'm
you.
telling you, I'm trying to teach people like me as a. I love and you teach music, which there's something so spiritual. I'm discovering that there's something so um spiritual about music because so you're right, dude, and no, and wrong and right, where I didn't discover cell phones and even a computer till after high school, and I have to thank
Yeah,
my poverty because I couldn't afford a computer like growing up. So I have to thank that because I, for example, discovered how to listen to a CD from front and back, and then
yeah, yeah,
also before streaming was a thing, I would download, like, I guess I'll be guilty of this, like pirating music. Like I would download an album, and again, it's poverty. I wasn't rich. I couldn't afford this stuff, but I would listen to an album from like when I first discovered Sergeant Pepper by the Beatles,
yeah.
and really letting the album soak in. Like most people nowadays don't do that. Like they
No,
don't like put on an album, close their eyes, and just listen and
yeah.
appreciate it.
I mean, they're gonna listen to one diss track.
And
Yeah, that's it.
dude,
Yeah, that's it.
and
Yeah,
just I know you're gonna get a
and
kick out of this.
that's right. A hate track towards somebody. That's a great influence.
Which no,
What I
geez, what
used
keep talking?
No, I said, that breeds a lot of good influence. A hate track towards somebody. That's great. I used to teach kids, and I would say, okay, pick any note on the bass, play it, and tell me what it feels like. And they look at me like, what? Hit that note, and how do you feel right now? Happy,
That's
sad,
that's a good way of putting
angry.
it.
So I was trying to teach them emotion that way. Hitting the note, and I kind of feel a little sad when I hit that note. Okay. Or this one, I feel aggressive when I hit that note. So I was trying to teach them emotion, which I picked up from a bass player named Victor Wooten. And if I have his book, I do have his book. No. Oh, you ever read this guy?
Which one?
Pablo Coelho.
Probably sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's another guy. I'm trying to find
No,
the
no,
book.
you'll get a kick out of this just to compare this. Geez, look at these lyrics, man. So this is not like us, the diss track that Lamar, I guess, won a Grammy for. You said. Look
Yeah.
what he says. Verse 1. A mustard on the beat. I'm not even gonna say some of these words. Debo, any rap? Skip that. He a free throw. Man down. Call in amber lamps. Tell him breathe, bro. Nail a N word to the cross. He walk around like Tizo. What's up with these jabroni? I'm not even gonna say this. We're trying to see Compton. The industry can hate me, F them all. They mama. How many ops or OPPS you really got? I mean, it's too many options. I'm going to stop right there. So that's the song that
Yeah.
Lamar won a Grammy for. Now compare this to Time and Motion, Wind and Sun and Rain, Days Connect like box car in a train. Now, by the way, that's Pert's like lyrically, that's weaker than his previous stuff and like, you know, moving
Right. Right.
pictures. But
Right.
just to compare, dude, this is not. I mean, I don't know, man.
Hurts
Imagine,
it's
no,
not as
imagine young
strong.
people listening to that. And I'm not saying the
Yeah.
N word
And
or
it's
like
not
the curse words.
and it's not Pert's strongest lyric, like opposed to going back to Hemispheres or whatever, but it blows away what this guy's saying. And this is like, and this guy's winning Grammys, and I, I'm not gonna say what I want to say. I almost want to say it's pollution of the mind. It's a mind virus, almost. You know what I mean? It's like making kids. I, I don't know. I I I can't. I
No,
can't.
no, and it's
I
funny
just don't
because
get it. I don't get it.
I mean, the song is like for me, it's like a stupid listen. Like I'll listen, I find it funny in my head, but um,
Yeah.
I mean, just to take your, 'cause I know you haven't listened to the song, but look what he says here. N word, because I don't really want to repeat this, but N word better straighten they
Yeah.
posture. Got famous all up in Compton. Might write this for the doctorate. Tell the pop star quit hiding. F a caption, one action, no accident. And I'm hands on. He F around, get polished. F'd on Wayne Girl while he was in jail. That's conniving. Then get his face tatted like a B word apologizing. Your take, what do you think?
Genius. I think he's one of the greatest lyricists of the 20, what are we in, the 22nd century now?
And then
You
she
know?
just because you haven't listened to the song, and then we go to Time and Motion, and mind you, the one of the weakest Rush songs in term because again they wrote
Yeah.
Hemispheres, they wrote Free Will, they wrote Red
Yeah.
Barchetta, and
Yeah.
and look at
Yeah.
this, spontaneous relations and the long enduring kind, right? Spin a thread of precious contact, squeeze in all that you can find. And again, that's like the life thing that you said. So life affirming. It's like, man, this makes me feel good. The
Yeah.
other song, what is he saying? Like, what do you think? What is he saying there?
It's poison to the minds of kids, but they're already brain
Yeah.
dead
Well,
that are
right.
listening.
And by the way, I think can I speak for you? You're not blaming Lamar for, anything.
No, I'm blaming the generation we live in. People are brain
Yeah.
dead.
And that's how
We're
artists can get away with that, like lyrics like that.
Yeah, and we're blessed. You know, people are gonna hate me for saying this, or say you're an old man, because I've been told that by Daquan. But I was blessed to grow up in the '70s, and I consider myself a part of the '60s because I had that in my life: the Beatles, Motown, all that stuff, the Doors, Hendrix. '70s, '80s, '90s, and early millennial was blessed to have that. None of this, and I'm not gonna get it, and I'm not gonna change, and I don't want to get it because we're talking about Carl Jung, and we're
Yeah.
talking about lyrics inspired by Carl Jung
Yeah.
and famous
No,
people, and this guy setting out nonsense, and he's winning 5 fucking Grammys. So it just goes to show you, people are musically retarded. I said it.
I know.
I
You know
said
what's
it.
funny? I'm
Yeah.
trying to. One of my things that I am so happy is that I get. First of all, like a job where I can like make an influence. But I love the art of
Yeah.
teaching, and I love making people open their minds to, I like, for example, like learning to listen to lyrics because lyrics are poetry and
Yeah.
all that. And so I don't know, but Time and Motion, good song, very, very.
Yeah. And just what he was reading, we'll get off the 5 Grammy winner because it angers me. And John Sykes wasn't mentioned. Hate you, Grammys. And this guy wins 5 Grammys.
Dude, you're like the Eddie Trunk. Dude,
John
you're like
Sykes
Eddie
won a,
Trunk right now.
John Sykes should have won a Grammy again for Whitesnake. I should have brought that out. Um, he was listening He was reading Shakespeare and William Blake on
Oh,
this.
well, that explains a lot because it's a poetic,
Yeah.
very poetic song. Again, not his best, but again, given the context of the album
Yeah.
and comparing it to the 5 Grammy winner, I mean,
Comparing it.
and by the way, wait, did you
And no
listen to the
respect.
wait, Cheech, have you listened to the Beyonce song?
Yes.
Okay, so
Chris Stapleton had a way better fucking song. Um, I'm not a big fan of crossing over the genres. I never
well,
was,
whoever does it has to um it's a risk. Like you really gotta know what you're doing. But
I
sometimes you're right,
mean,
it doesn't work.
if you're good at what you do, Steve Harris writing a country song, your marriage,
I'm like,
like it's
dude,
not gonna
it'll be
work.
funny if I ever heard that.
The world that we should do that in AI. We should
I
put an
think you can
Iron
do
Maiden
it.
country. Yeah, like the world I'm from, you stayed in your own
Stay in your
world,
own lane.
unless you were geniuses like Run DMC and Aerosmith, Public Enemy and Anthrax.
But
That
the
worked.
genius there, well, in the case for um, Rick
Rick Rubin.
Rubin, which he breaks the rules. Like he's not,
Yeah,
he's an iconoclast.
it's not the band's
No,
idea; it's the
no,
engineers'
because
idea.
none of them were
Just
on board,
like
dude.
yeah, just like Caveman telling Rush to go
Wait,
back to the old
Richard, I want to
equipment.
hear your
You know?
reaction to this. This is Beyonce's Texas Hold'em, Grammy
Yeah.
winner. Look at this. This ain't Texas. Woo. Ain't no Hold'em. Hey. So lay your cards down, 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 down. So park your Lexus. Woo. And throw up your keys up. Throw your keys up. Hey. Stick around, round, round, round. Stick around. And I'll be damned if I can't slow dance with you. Come, pour some sugar on me, honey, too. It's a real live boogie and a real live hoedown. Don't be a B word. Come take it to the floor now. Woo, ha, woo. Your take.
Now, before I comment, I gotta say this goes to downloads and stuff too. So people Grammys are by how many albums are sold, right?
No,
It's
no. So
not.
the original people think that the Grammys are about high art. And Rick Beato made a point of this. It's not really about that anymore. It's more about, I think, trend
Yeah,
popular. You're right, stream popularity because they want to reach the
yeah,
young people.
yeah, yeah. And I'm surprised Chris Stapleton didn't win because country music is so hot, and there's a lot of country people that are country fans. And then Beyonce's married to one of the famous rappers of all
Mhm.
time, Jay-Z. So that has a lot to do with it. No respect to Beyonce. No disrespect to Beyonce. I was never a fan of her music. But okay, she won, but it's the kids, it's the world we live in that I'm just gonna be Eddie Trunk and just say I'm not a part of it. And thank God I'm not fucking a part of it. And I'd say stay in your own genres, man. Like unless you're like, Southern rock, a lot of the country guys blended Southern rock. It makes
Mhm.
sense. It makes
Mhm.
sense. They're close together. Rap and country, no, they're two different things. Even when these country guys rap, I think they sound like idiots.
Dude,
You know what I'm talking
that's one
about?
of the worst genres, dude. That
Fucking
genre
horrible
is so
way.
that what's that band? Georgia Florida line or something? That one of these awful.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Florida of Georgia
Oh
line.
gosh, it's just really cringe. It just does not work. And I guess
No,
okay, so
I
we'll
just
move
got
on to Rush's now next song, which I kind of like, Totem.
Totem. Oh wait. Let me just talk about time and motion music. Great synths, cinematic sound. I like that word. Has a cinematic
Mm-hmm.
vibe. Complex time signatures, which you brought up, and great chorus. Okay. Yeah, I just have to. I got something at 5, so I don't want to.
Yeah, so just keeping time. So Totem, which I know this is not a popular song for a lot of people, but I kind of like it. I like the religious element.
No. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Talks about religion, spirituality, history, good and bad, the dynamics of good and evil. Before I get into the books, you want to just talk about those concepts?
Yeah,
that I mentioned.
I mean, lyrically, it's strange. I'm not sure exactly. And it's funny. This is one of their. It's a good idea. I don't think they're really fleshed out, in my opinion. Just like lyrically, like
Yeah, it's almost like a plant. Like we've been analyzing plants so much,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
almost
It
like
has
his
like
lyric.
yeah, like a plant vibe where okay, like I've got
Yeah.
idols and icons, unspoken holy vows. Okay, cool. And then he says, angels and demons inside of me, saviors and satans all around me. All right, are they taking a jab at religion? I'm not sure, or Christianity. I'm not sure. Sweet chariot, swing low, coming for me. So it's like a hodgepodge of ideas.
Yeah, yeah, which I really like. I like that. It's different for Neil because it almost is not as absurd as Dylan. We've gone from the absurdity of Dylan to the insanity of Plant, where he'll be singing about a beautiful girl and then Gollum comes in and
Yeah,
slips away
it's
with
so
her
weird. Yeah,
and
Plant. I wouldn't even know how to dude. I
what
don't even know how to describe
wait
Plant.
holy House of the Holy is all over the place. God. Um, Books Neil was reading, obviously the Bible, the Tao, and this is interesting, a Native American book, which I did read this book at one time, Black Elk Speaks by John G. Nehart and Joseph Campbell.
Yeah, definitely see it.
So any comments on books? Definitely the Bible and the Tao
I
I
can
can
see
hear. And
that.
Totem coming from Native American
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah. And musically,
Um
Cheech?
yeah. Driving rhythm, soaring guitar, a blend of heavy metal sounds and amazing bass.
I was gonna say the
Amazing.
drumming and bass. I will say, like musically, across the album, I don't know if you would agree. There's a consistent sound, but it is pretty good consistently. Like lyrics are okay,
Yeah.
but musically,
Yeah.
it's good. It sounds like
Oh
a
yeah.
good Rush record.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's phenomenal. Okay. Now this one I like. I
I
like
like
this one a
Dog
lot. I
Years,
always
dude.
did.
If I can just say Dog Years is kind of stupid, but I will say it's charming.
Yeah, and everybody hates
Dude,
it.
no, no. I
And
was gonna
and
say, dude,
and
everyone. I'll be honest with you. If
fuck
I don't know if you
off,
would agree with
man.
this.
They're not
Everyone hates Dog Years. Everyone does not like Carve Away the Stone, which I'm curious to see what you think. People don't like Totem, right? And people think
yeah.
that half of the world, The Color of Right and Time and Motion are okay. Like, all right.
Yeah. They're just not open minded
But I
enough,
will say Dog Years,
Uh,
I mean, there's something charming about this song. And
and like what I love about it, so you've had a dog, right?
well, my
In your life?
sister has a dog that she loves it, and he and I have history.
Like
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I had many. I can't even describe how many dogs I've had in my 55 years of my life. From when I was a little kid to now, I have a dog, and it's interesting. I really had to analyze this. So the passing of time, coming from a dog, okay, fleeting nature. Now a dog is a metaphor. Now a dog has a shorter life than a human. It's 7 years per 1 year. And I don't know how scientists come up with that. I don't know how true that is, but there's got to be a, a reason, right?
Wait, the lifespan of a
It's
dog?
got to be. Yeah, 1 year is 7 years. Have you
Oh
ever
yeah,
heard
yes,
that?
yes, yes, yes. Like dog years or cat years, right?
Yeah.
It's like a mix
So
of science and like statistics.
right. I'm sure they did
Yeah, yes,
experiments
yeah,
and
because they would say
they,
yeah, like lifespan, like
maybe it was Pavlov. Maybe somebody like that. Um. So a dog's life is shorter, obviously, than our life. But if you were to tell me, oh yeah, your 1 year is 7 years, as a human, you'd start to worry. Oh shit,
yeah, the
now I'm
lifespan,
10.
right, right.
Seven, now I'm 54. I should be dead if I'm a dog. You know what I mean? So it, it's how, time passes by so fast and how a dog ages, faster than a human. So, um, live your life by making every moment count.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. That's like the
Caring,
deep idea behind it.
because if you said to a human, you're not going to live that long, a dog doesn't know that. A dog has no
Mhm.
idea. When it's a puppy, he's like all over the place. When he's 3 or 4, he's still jumping on you, waiting for you to come home. But he's 24 years old when he's 4. Is he 49 at 7?
Mhm.
Time he hits 10, he's 70. And yeah, they start, depending on the breed, they start to get arthritis when they're about 10. So it makes sense. When you're 70, or even like when a dog is 6, they could get some things happening to
Right,
them,
right.
their teeth falling out, stuff that happens to a human. So it's amazing how that happens. And then a fucking parrot could live forever. Go figure. Like,
Or a
how does
cat.
well, no, cats are
Don't they?
interesting.
Don't they outlive
It depends on
dogs?
the breed. They do. A cat will make it to 15 or 16. I've had some go up to
And they
20,
have 9 lives,
19.
as the legend goes.
Yeah. But a Persian cat, which if you got the money to get one, I've had 2 of them in my life. When I was married, um, to the good one, to make that clear. My baby's mama, you know, um, we had 2 Persians, and they live long. They live long. But a fucking parrot live they live. They always said, if you're born, get your kid a parrot, it'll live its whole life with your kid. How cool is
Mhm.
that? So, and you have birds, right? So how long do they
Yeah,
live? The canaries, not long, right?
not long, but a lot of accidents though, because we have cats.
Oh,
My
the
parents
cats
had
fuck with
cats,
them.
yeah, so a lot of accidents there. One mysterious death, but for so far they live. Yeah, they breed like crazy.
Cat, cats are evil,
Ah,
man. Cats
I was
just
gonna
want to
say, if
fuck
you have a
shit up.
parrot, be careful with cats.
Yeah, cats want to just fuck shit up. That's what I like about cats.
Evil.
Um, yeah, in a good way, I think. Um, so musically, haunting melody, great guitar solo, and great
Yeah,
drums. William Burroughs, The Western Lands. Um, Evelyn Underhill, Mysticism. I don't know if you've ever heard of those
I
books.
heard of
William Burroughs, yeah.
them, bro.
So that's where he was coming from. The Dog Years, if you're a Rush fan, check it out. Don't listen to these dummies who write bad reviews. Remember, this was a good album that the critics liked. It's the fans that butchered it. And if there wasn't a platform, when it came out, people didn't write into Kerrang magazine or Circus magazine and write bad reviews. All the bad reviews started on the internet. So this was good for a while until people started to read about it and go, wait a second, this person said it sucks, and because of the fucking internet. Speaking of, this is a good segue.
Oh, one more thing about Dog Years. It's has a punk vibe.
it, it,
It's
it does it
interesting,
does have a
and
punk.
then a lyric that makes me laugh. In a dog's life, a year is really more like 7, and all too soon, a canine will be chasing cars in doggy heaven. The fact that they're saying doggy heaven in a Rush lyric, too funny.
Yeah, that's a little cheesy but funny. So Virtuality, we talked about
I
this
think this is my favorite
before the
song on
show.
the album. If I had to say one,
And it's also very Nostradamus like. And I think in 1996 I had gotten maybe the AOL had just started. You plug into the phone and you go on the computer,
right?
right? And this reminds me of my friend Danny Brown, this album. And we would go on there and we would cause havoc in a chat room. We would just cause so much. I won't even get into one off screen. I'll tell you the
Yes, but
crazy
I
shit
don't
we
think
used
kids
to do.
know AOL anymore.
Oh yeah, AOL
Do wait,
was
do you
like
remember?
you
Do you
go in,
remember when he said you got mail?
you got mail. Yeah. And we would try to get a picture of like a girl, like we'd meet in a chat room because there would be like regular chat rooms and then private chat rooms. So we think we're talking to a girl. We're like, oh, maybe we can get a picture of her. Me and my friend Danny would kind of, go through the whole thing. And the picture would be like this when it came in. You see a face, maybe a bikini.
Yo,
Then you go, "Oh my God, look what we just saw!" You know what I mean? It would be, a naked chick,
wait,
but it would take an hour.
virtuality, man.
The effects of technology and virtual reality on human relations. Man, did they call it. Blurring the lines between reality and digital lives. Technology dominating people, people hiding behind screens, losing touch with reality and the human connection. Rush was the Nostradamus of this. This is 1996.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't now where everyone has a computer and their phone. Rush saw this coming, which is amazing, you
I mean,
know?
something also like that line. It's funny, right? Look what they say here. Net boy, net girl, send your impulse around the world. They keep repeating this idea, boy and net girl, which that's everybody today.
Yeah. They called it. They should even get more credit on
You know,
this.
and look at
Like,
this send, and again, that's why like I know Neil. Most people don't like his lyrics. He writes in this weird. I don't know how to describe it. Like I love it, but he says here, net boy, net girl, send your heartbeat round the world. That's online dating. So they were
totally.
prefiguring like what we have now. They were
Yeah,
talking about it.
or if it's just some stupid idiot who meets somebody on Facebook Messenger and talks to her
Oh,
forever.
talk to a Lamia
Like you,
too.
the idiot me. Yeah. Um so you know, and I love losing touch with reality and human connection. We're gone. We're gone, you know. Like I got somebody the other day on Messenger, really hot girl asking me a million questions. Oh, I saw your picture, yada yada yada. Then it's like, are you married? What do you want out of life? I mean, what's wrong? You're a fucking robot. You know what I mean? It's like it's insane. It's insane, the internet, what it's become, man.
I know. I fear for like young
You know,
people that
losing touch with reality and the human connection. That's everyone's on. You know, you when you go on your phone, you see everyone who's on Instagram, and you look and you're like, oh my god, like people. My mother's on, people older. I'm like, it's gotten everybody. It's like a drug that's gotten everyone, and that's why I respect these people. And I only know a few that never got on Facebook, never got on these platforms. They never wanted to be on it. You know, and I was like that for a couple of years too when it started. I'm like, I don't want to be on this shit. And then someone said, dude, you don't have to send out you
I
know
had that I
mail.
had that attitude too.
You don't have to send out your flyers through mail. You don't have to put them
Wait,
on telephone poles. You could just do an email. You could just do it
well,
on
you can. Well,
Facebook
back, remember you
and
remember MySpace? That used to be popular. I remember that. I did
yeah,
not want to make a MySpace. I
yeah, that,
hated the idea, and this me kind of I couldn't like put it together, and then someone forced me to make a Facebook because
yeah,
girls
yeah,
were on that. So that's like
yeah,
stupid.
yeah. You know, you get to meet,
And dude, just
and
to
it's
compare lyrics, I'm gonna give you another Kendrick lyric. See what your take from his new album that
God,
won 5 Grammys. Luther, the song's called. Ready? If this world were
yeah.
mine, hey, Roman numeral 7, bae, drop it like it's hot. If this world was mine, I'd take your dreams and make them multiply. If this world was mine, I'd take your enemies in front of God, introduce them to that light, hit them strictly with that fire. Fa 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 fa. Hey, Roman numeral 7, bae. Drop it like it's hot. And then you go to Neil's song Virtuality, like a shipwrecked mariner adrift on an unknown sea, clinging to the wreckage of the lost ship Fantasy. I'm a castaway, stranded in a desolate land. I can see the footprints in the virtual sand. All right, what do you think?
Mm. My favorite line: fa 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 fa.
And
What a
apparently, dude,
jackass!
I know for a fact our friends are not going to watch the show because they're going to see Rush and be like, "Oh, definitely not watching this."
Yeah,
But
yeah.
one of our fellow temple workers was praising the song, the Luther song, and I was like, I listened to it. I'm like, I don't know anymore.
Not it's not gonna say it sucks because I don't want to be mean, but it's not my thing.
I have to say, it's
Uh,
not my
um,
thing. As I get older and I start reading philosophy books and books on philosophy, psychology, theology,
not to be snobbish, but like, we're in a different like bracket. We're studying Jung, we're listening to Rush, we're studying Nietzsche and Rand, Stoics. Fa 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 fa. That's all I got to say.
And dude,
Fucking leave.
and dude, look at this, and again, like, look at this other part of the lyric. And I want to hear your take on this. If it go in when you out, ride it, do it real slow, slide, baby, you a star, strike, pose, right. When you, with me, everything goes slow. Come on, put that on my, and I think he says Titi, soul, Rari, red crown, and apparently I think that's the chorus.
Like, it sounds like he's a 2-year-old just like learning words.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I
And
mean?
look, he says here, I can't lie. I trust you. I love you. I won't waste your time. I turn it off just so I can turn you on. I'm gonna make you say it loud. I'm not even tripping. I won't stress you out. I mean, I don't know.
Uh,
Apparently,
I don't
some of our
know.
temple workers were praising that song. Luther.
Yeah, I made a comment that it was mumble, and I almost got crucified. And I'm not. I mean, I don't have a lot of time. I'm sorry. I got to go at 5, but I just got to say it is definitely not my thing. And thank God I grew up when I did, because it makes fa 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 makes no
I have
fucking
to I
sense
have to listen to the
to a
song to
guy
put in context, but I don't know what that fa 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 is.
to a buying a stairway to heaven. Fa 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 sounds like somebody who's I
And
don't
the fact that I
I
hope he
don't know.
wrote this song, if it took a team, dude, look how many songwriters. One, two, three, four.
Jesus
Uh,
Christ. Neil Peart's rolling over in his grave. I
dude.
like four songwriters to write that. Not saying it's,
And by the way,
but
Cheech, apparently it's a homage to Luther Vandross, I think.
yeah, yeah. I met him at the temple, believe it
Oh,
or
that's
not.
pretty cool.
Yeah. He was
Apparently one of our
so
temple workers, and we'll hop off on this train, but um,
yeah.
one of our temple workers was saying that the Luther Vandross family household praised the song. I'll be honest with you, they're probably thinking,
Oh
"Ooh,
no,
what money can we get? What royalties?"
exactly. Exactly. Haunting vocals, complex time signatures, builds to a mellow and high climax. Books, Gene, oh God, Baudrillard, Berdrillard, Michael Hem, uh, metaf- metaphors on virtual reality. Those were the books he was reading. So I hate to rush it.
Now go ahead. So we'll rush.
Okay.
Yeah, good because last tracks are they're good. Like they kind of. I think
Yeah.
the coolest one is Limbo, if anything. But go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll let you go. Go
Um,
ahead. So talk about resist,
yeah.
Limbo, and carve away the stone.
Now, resist reminds me of my own I just said it. Well, me and my friend Danny would always say it was about my uncle, but it was funny. It was just a joke we had. So ballad, temptation, desire, struggle, the struggle to resist one's dark impulses, inner turmoil, um, desire, and to maintain self control. You know, so to resist something, Adam and Eve and the snake, that kind of
Hmm.
thing. You know, any quick comments on that?
No, I think it's a straightforward song.
Yeah.
And musically,
Um, Getty soaring vocals, emotional vocals. Alex's acoustic work, Neil straightforward
yeah,
drumming. Books were by Dorothy Parker, William Blake, Stoic Philosophy, your boy EPIC,
Epictetus.
Epictetus,
I can
yeah,
see that.
Marcus Aurelius, Marcus Aurelius. Okay. Um. So Limbo. Now Limbo, I'm just gonna break down.
Musically,
I think it's a great
really good.
instrumental, very, very
Yeah,
overproduced. My only problem with it. Ominous bass lines in the beginning, haunting guitar, Eerie effects, heavy guitar, great drums, sense of
And Getty
tension.
has these strange vocals too, even though it's an instrumental. Have you ever heard like
Yeah,
Getty's weird, like ooh, ah, like it's cool.
yeah, vocals in it. The intro, like you said, the airy vocals with guitar, heavy guitar work, nice atmospheric vibe. It goes down to part three, the drums being more prominent, adding tension, and then the climax is all the instruments coming together
Yeah.
to a sense of urgency. Then the outro track is a fade out with haunting keyboards, and that might be, I'm sorry, where Getty's voice comes in with a pulsing bass line to create a sense of unease. So just a great
Yeah, dude.
instrumental track. So
It should.
cool
And
that
by the
Rush
way,
is
I
doing
was reading. It
instrumental.
should have concluded the album.
You should have been the ending on the album, you think?
It should have concluded it, not the other song,
Yeah.
because that would have been an awesome
Yeah.
conclusion.
Yeah. Carve away at the stone. Um so uncarving one's true nature. The sense of struggle and transformation. Um as if the protagonist is carving away at their own emotional and physical, being. Um,
And by the way,
just to
I'm curious to hear what philosophers you were reading. I'm gonna see if
yeah,
I'm gonna see if you got the right one.
okay, to be your authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
To any comment on that?
So yeah, so first glance, excellent what you just said. But it's about human
Yeah.
life and human struggle, and
Yep. Yep. The sense of struggle and transformation, as if
there's one
the
philosopher that you better mention.
as carving at their own emotional and well being and being your authentic self. Let's see if I'm gonna get in trouble with Manny. I don't know. I don't really have a lot of philosophers
There's
on this
one
one.
major one because the myth of Sisyphus.
Who is that again? That was the Greek.
Remember the Greek myth of the person gets punished by he has to roll up a stone for eternity, but he's going
Yeah,
back down.
me. We said that me every day at the temple.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, anyone that works at the
Who's
temple, that's the struggle.
yeah, who is a philosopher again?
Mr. Albert Camus.
Camus. I don't have him on here. I have John Paul Sartre that I was reading.
Sure.
Nietzsche and Rand,
Those
and
two.
I have writers. I have William Butler Yeats pops up because Yeats got a little bit in his
I
older
could see
life,
that.
like, and William Blake.
Poetically, I can see that, but this is Camus all over.
Camus, you seeing
Yep,
Camus in
because
it?
he wrote
Yeah, I
the
did.
myth of Sisyphus to describe what the song's
Yeah,
describing is he was trying to describe how human existence and life is. Like we're Sisyphus.
yeah.
We rolled the stone up to no avail, just to do it again.
Me every
That's the
day.
temple anthem. This could be a temple anthem.
Everyone's back
And
to
no, by the way, you go
customers and
inside, dude. You're carving away at that stone, man. But
setting it up,
oh,
and
by the way, this is you, and not. I would say this is me too, but luckily no, I'm only there half of the time. But look, you can roll that stone to the top of the hill, drag your ball and chain behind you.
yep, 8 hours a day, drowning. Help! Help! People's pre-packing like robots. Like, I got Raph looking at me, shaking his head.
And dude,
Customers,
this is you. You can roll that stone
I
to
had
the
a
top of the hill. You can carry that weight with an iron will. You can drive those wheels to the end of the road. You can try to deny the weight of their load. And then they say, roll away the stone, Sisyphus. So you're Sisyphus.
Oh, Sisyphus is mentioned.
Yes. That's why I'm surprised you didn't get Albert Camus.
Wow. And then I forgot to talk about the albums.
Yeah, the album cover. Go ahead. Oh, and by the way, musically,
And then
musically quick for Carve Away the Stone. What do you got?
What do I got? What do I got? What do I got? Oh, prominent pounding drum beat, heavy distorted guitars, great bass, great layered harmonies.
Yeah.
You know, Geddy starts to layer his harmonies a lot on this album. So cover artwork. This is fascinating. This is really, and I've seen this
Wait, is
because I've
that
been.
them climbing the stone?
No,
Okay.
no, this is
Because I see
interesting.
three people there.
I've been. It could represent them, but this is what I got, and I've been to Quebec and parts of Quebec where you do see this stuff. I'm gonna add an order here. So, yeah. Okay. So the cover symbolizes finding your way, um, basically finding your way. So Neil would be on his travels, and I'm gonna say this really wrong. Like I don't know. They're called
Yeah, they have a weird
INUKSHU
name.
Inkshucks. Neil would see him, and he call you or whatever. He would message him and say, "I want to do something with this on one of the albums." I don't know if U Sims
Uh,
was
I,
into it, but you
wait,
know,
was it Hugh
picture
Sims?
of
Because
it.
I don't see him. His name.
No, he did the
Oh
artwork
wow.
on
Okay.
this, I believe. Well, it's
Oh yes,
interesting
yes. I'm
how he did
sorry.
it.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So Shukniks or whatever is the likeness of a human created in stone, and their purpose. There's a purpose for them. They're all. I've actually seen one. I have a picture somewhere when I was in Quebec. Um, they're on the landscapes and they serve several functions, including guiding travelers, warning for dangers if there's wild animals in that particular
Mhm.
area at the time they were made, um, assisting hunters, and assisting places of safety. So there's a meaning for each eunuch. Not a eunuch where they cut your balls off. A eunuch. Um, so basically, an Inuit is an Eskimo. That's a better name
Oh,
to call them,
Inuit.
Eskimo.
Inuit, right? Inuit.
Inuit. Yeah. Forgive me for butchering that. The Eskimo community, indigenous people who lived in Antarctica, Greenland, Quebec, and Alaska. Just to give you a history of them. Um, so basically, what you did, he didn't get stone. It's not stone. He did this very interesting. He made the figure from foam, plaster, and baking soda, and he carved the say the word again
Inuit.
sound like in Inuit, and he carved it into that stone person, and he drew an actual Arctic scene behind it, and he put it in front of it to look like a real stone, and he put it in the stone person in front of it, and the meaning of it is finding your way and to give you guidance to the traveler. So that's pretty much the story behind that. I think it's a cool cover.
It's pretty
I think
cool.
the story's cool too. Yeah, and if you're around Quebec, you got to go to different areas. There's one famous one that's like in the town in the big city in Quebec, where you can actually see it. It's like it's there on land, and I remember reading the history about it and how the Eskimos would build it. So it's pretty cool. So any comments on that?
No, cool album cover. It's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it's different. It's very different for Rush. And I messed up, and we're doing it backwards. So in 1996, what albums came out? When the young Manny was only 3 or 4. Uh, gotta say, 1996 was not a good year, I think, for music. I mean, and I think maybe breaking it down was they needed something new because grunge ended. They were kind of in like a limbo, no pun intended. Like, where are we going with music now? A lot of bands were still hot, like Pearl
Yeah.
Jam, Soundgarden, but they weren't like They weren't like they once were 3 years ago. And it was right before Buck Cherry came out and
Mm-hmm.
Creed and Godsmack. So Korn might have just come out in the Deftones.
Right.
I'm not quite sure if Korn was probably out in
I
'96,
know. I
and I
see.
always
Kind of interesting what you think. Pinkerton, Weezer, Tool released his album called Enema. Rage
yeah.
Against the
And Tool's
Machine,
already
Evil Empire.
we got Evil Empire was number one on my list because that was a great
Right.
album. That's a fantastic album. Sublime had come out. I liked
Mm-hmm.
them. REM, New Adventures in Hi-Fi. I recommend that album. It's a great album.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Uh,
Sublime, New Adventures,
yeah,
Soundgarden, and
not
Pearl Jam released. I think those albums are good, but definitely not because, like you say, grunge was on its way out.
uh,
Rage was still going
yeah,
strong with
they're
Evil
kind of
Empire. Beck released Odelay. Beck is interesting.
that was good.
Um,
Um,
oh, the
Load,
Wallflowers, if you like them.
yeah,
Your
but
favorite
nothing
Dave
great.
Matthews Band, Crash.
No thanks. Although I do like that. I do like that song, but not a fan. Load, Metallica. I
Oh
mean,
gosh, Def
I don't
Leppard
know.
released Slang. Their attempt at,
Yeah, we won't even go there. Broken Arrow, Neil Young. How do you feel about that?
what's funny? Like the Neil Young albums in the '90s, they're pretty good. They're
Yeah.
solid.
Um, and I like this album.
You're right. It's
It
kind of
didn't do
it's kind
well,
of
but Mr.
bad.
Mr. Big, Hey Man, I saw that
It's like
tour.
not a lot of good.
Uh,
In the pop world, which at that point
Kiss,
rock is getting out of. Rock is kind of. Um, you have Matchbox 20 on the rise.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's true.
yeah, actually, not a good year. You're right.
I like Matchbox 20. I really,
No, they're good. They're
what's his
good.
name?
They represent that kind of
Fred,
2000 sound.
was it Fred Thomas? No,
Rob
Rob
Thomas.
Thomas. Fred Thomas was the bass player in the James Brown band. Uh, Kiss Unplugged came out that year. And I like this band who was forgotten. Cake,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fashion, great. So not a great year for music in
No,
my opinion.
no. And if anything, I don't know how you feel about this, but the score by the Fugees, Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubt, All Eyes on Me, Tupac.
I mean, yeah, for rap it
Yeah.
was okay. Rap it
Oh,
was
everyone's favorite, the
better.
Spice Girls released their.
Yeah, Hanson probably came out that same year. A lot of garbage. I mean, I think Evil Empire is the best album to come out out of that list.
Daquan's
To
favorite,
be honest,
Outcast, Aliens came out.
that wasn't the big one though. I didn't get into Outcast
No,
till the millennium. Yeah.
no. Yeah,
Uh,
pretty. Someone says the extraordinary year for music. Like how?
I think it was not a
I
good
don't
year
think
for
so.
music. I'm not seeing it at all. So I was just kind of like,
It's all
you
over the
know,
place. It's not consistent anymore.
yeah. And I think it's because
Oh,
they're,
Metallica released Load.
yeah, Load, which not a good
It's
album
okay.
in my
It's
opinion.
okay.
You know, but it was like they were stuck in limbo because, and then a couple of years later, you got some great music. You got Buck
Mhm.
Cherry. You got, yeah, like I said, Godsmack, and who else did I say? God, actually, did the Google Dolls I might have missed in
I don't see
'96.
them, but maybe. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. You're
they
right.
might
It's
have been
not. It's not really a good year for rock. Only a few. Only a few
because
albums. A few, but
yeah, and it's in between what's going to come next and what did come next. Really, nothing. Nothing came
oh,
next. If
and
you
you
think
should.
about it.
And you should add Cheech. And I guess we'll close out because I know you're gonna end up leaving pretty soon. But um, what? Why is Test for Echo kind of sad and like Rush history?
My opinion is the internet, um, fans wrote negative shit about it because when it
Mhm.
came out, it was praised,
No,
and
and no, and not to
we
mention what happens. The tragedy.
oh
Because
oh
so on top
oh
that they trashed the album, the fans, then what happens? We talked about this.
The saddest thing in the world. So when the tour was over and Neil and got back home with his family, unfortunately, his daughter was killed in a car accident going to college. And in that year and a half, his wife died from cancer. And Neil lost everything because family is way more important than your music. And you could be the greatest rock star in the world and losing a kid. No, no, no. That's the worst. That's the worst thing in the world. And if you read the book, Ghost Rider, it is tragic. I read that book in tears. The first chapter, I don't want to give it away, but dude, you will break down in tears. It the way he describes what happens. And Neil took a break, and he was really heavily into the motorcycle, and he just rode all over the pot. Everywhere he can ride a motorcycle to, this guy did. He would get on boats that would take him to South America. I think he even made it to Central America. You know, Panama and things like that. He would go
He
to, and
actually made it that far.
I'm pretty sure.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure he did. You know, and he talks about his travels and just how sad he was, and I learned a lot about books he was reading at that time. I remember having a list of books. It's a great read, but in the end, the funny story is a cop pulls him over for speeding, and he gives him his license, and he's like, "Wait a second, do I know you?" And Neil's like, "Don't want to be bothered." He goes, "Let me just pay the ticket. You don't know me." And the guy was like, "You sure?" You know, uh, and two of the happy moments that I got, like Rush didn't even know where he was. This is before the
Yeah, they were
internet. This is,
worried. I
you
know
know,
getting the documentary say he was worried.
yeah. So Neil would just send postcards to Getty on his birthday, say happy birthday, and Neil and Getty would be like, "Oh yeah, Neil's doing okay," and then in the end, he met a younger girl, hooked up with her. They got married, and they had a newborn baby. So he had a new life, had a family. Thank God he experienced that for a decade. He had that again, happiness, and then he passed away from brain
Mhm.
cancer. You know, but one of the happy points I got is when he goes to a studio, and I got like 3 minutes. He goes to a studio and he sets up his drums and he starts playing drums. And I think he called Getty and Alex and he said, "I played drums today." And they were like, "Okay, that means Neil's back." And we could end it with
I
that, you
know. The
know.
test for Echo, I feel
So
like it's a tragic end in a way because on top of that, it wasn't popular with the fans. Then tragedy happened, and then they go on hiatus.
they go on a five
That's a
year
long time.
hiatus, and yeah, and Getty did a an album. What was it called? My Favorite Headache, and then he comes back and they do Vapor Trails, and that was 2001. So from 2001 to 15, they got big. They got bigger. They got immortalized. They were in movies. They were on TV shows. Everybody knew who Rush was. So I think the 2000s made him more popular than the
Mm-hmm.
80s. Made him legends. Freaks and Geeks. I think the show that was on, that crazy Canadian show
Mm-hmm.
they were on. Um, they were in that movie I Love You Man. Basically, it's about Rush.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they got really popular, and I think they went they're in a restaurant or something, and the lady's talking to Getty like, "I know you. You're in a band," and Alex is right there, and Alex is like, "Hi, I'm in a band too," and she's like completely blowing Alex off. It's really funny. But yeah, thank God, they became popular, and thank God Neil got to have that peace, find love again, have a child, and move on. And Rush got a third chapter in their
Right.
life, or whatever, like another, you know, part of their life. So, anyway, to the people out there, if you don't like Test for Echo, go out and listen to it again, download it. All the songs are amazing. Totem, Driven, Limbo, Half the World, great album. I'm gonna write Vapor Trails, but we're gonna focus, I think, more on Led Zeppelin, and we're gonna try to do every Led Zeppelin album with Mr. Silkman. Then we're gonna tackle a tough one, Genesis.
I'm so excited for that one.
That's gonna be amazing. But so yep, great episode, Manny. Great to see you.
Yeah, Cheech,
I'm
likewise,
gonna
and
miss
thank
you.
you for your contribution in the research. It's excellent.
Oh, and thank you for your knowledge on the philosophy. It blows my mind every time you pick out those nuggets. I'm gonna miss you on Sunday night, so we're gonna have to FaceTime to write
Yes,
these
sir.
shows. You know, but all right, man. You have a
You
great
too,
night,
brother.
and we'll see you with the Houses of the Holy. We're gonna be recording with Mr. Joe Silkman, and check out Killers and Led Zeppelin 3.
Sounds
It's gonna be
good.
not new. Peace out, everyone, and just opinions about the Grammys, and
Yes.
nothing, no hatred, no hate,
No, and then
just different.
you and I are comics, so don't take us seriously, honestly.
Yeah, but I will have to say, I'm going to end it with this. Fuck you very much, Grammys, for not acknowledging John Sykes.
I know.
That's what I
R.I.P.
got to
John
end it.
Sykes, legend in
And
my book.
people, please listen to John Sykes, Tigers of Pantang, White Snake, Thin Lizzy, Blue Murder. Go out, and if you don't know who he is, if you're a guitar player, he's one of the fucking greatest. Check him out.
I was gonna say, at least listen to White Snake, Still of the Night.
Oh yeah, greatest album he ever made, I think. So, all right, man.
Teach.
Peace.
Always a pleasure, brother.
See you
Peace
next.
out, man. Till the next one.
All right. Take care. Bye.